Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Kerridwen Green. This is Living Green blog, and I'm presenting our sustainable interviews today with a professional who has been over 40 years in green roof technology, Mr. Jörg Breuning. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to answer your questions, and I think you are on a really good direction with your blog and with the ideas to get things more environmentally friendly.
Well, thank you very much. We think it's important for everybody, and today I would like for you to explain to us a little bit more about green roof and what it is and where it came from and everything. But before we get into your background, could you tell us a little bit what is a green roof for the people who are watching and don't know what we're talking about?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. I had a little problem here in the.
Okay, no worries.
In
I was
sound.
asking you, what exactly is a green roof?
So a green roof is pretty much vegetation, plants, living plants on top of a structure and typically a building. But it could be also on bridges, and so pretty much on any structure. The interesting part is that the vegetation on a green roof, and what is considered as a green roof, it's vegetation that has no direct contact to the ground, to the soil, to the grade of the regular earth. So that means there's a separation in between, which is the structure. And that means there are different versions. And I think the most famous version we know, it's a roof garden, where we are able to have a good time on top of a roof in between in between plants and trees, maybe even. And then there are solutions where you have a very shallow system, a very thin system, where you just use the ecological benefits of the green roofs to compensate other impacts of the building.
What is the origin of green roof? What were the first green roofs?
Yeah, I mean, so to speak, the experts are very undecided in that, but at some point it all goes back to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. We cannot see them today anymore, other than in nice drawings and nice pictures and maybe in some written documents. But I think this is a sort of the beginning of having vegetation on top of the buildings. But all over the centuries, there were a lot of good reasons to put vegetation on top of the buildings. I mean, in the Middle Ages, in the dense cities surrounded by a wall, it was important if an enemy was basically holding the city outside the wall, that people can also have food and grow their stuff within the city. So they sometimes built basically green roofs where they produced food. Back then, obviously, it was not so elegant. It was just for the purpose.
Survival,
and they used
really.
typically all the organic waste they had, including the human waste, feces, all that stuff, to keep things growing there. So it's and then in Second World War or after Second World War, it was also very often used, especially in Europe, in Germany, where supply was also very limited, where people also grow vegetation. So when people come to me and say, okay, we make a rooftop farm, I think it's all a great idea. There's no question about it. But it all reminds me to a hardship from the human species. So that means we only produce food on a roof if we have no other choices.
It's out of necessity, really.
Yes, and then nowadays I think, okay, we have everything. Why you want to grow food on a roof, you know? Because there is no need for that. It is more need to help farmers on the ground to grow the food more sustainable. Why you want to do it on a roof? But it is as it is, and for a lot of people, it's really great. But so to speak, green roofs go over the centuries. And here in the US, very famous, obviously, is the Rockefeller Center. That's almost 100 years old, the green roof. And it was an important part of the entire construction from the beginning.
Right.
But in Europe, we see old structures too. And then all the fortresses, whether it's in Europe or here in the US, they all have green roofs on it.
Right.
Also to grow vegetable in a war situation, but also to have the layers of soil as an additional protection against the attacks with shells from others.
I would never have thought of that.
And I have to say, I even know military airports in Germany where the fighters' airplanes have a single garage spread out over the airfield, and they are all with greenery. So it has also a lot of tactic situations still today.
See, I think of green roofs and I think more of like, you know, the cabins in Norway or something with the green roofs on top. I haven't thought of tactical reasons behind it.
Yeah, but this is a good point when you bring that up, especially when we look at these buildings in Norway. They were made also out of a necessity. People were building structures, they needed structures, and they were using the materials they are surrounded with. So they basically took out the grass sods and put it up on their roof to make it very simple and to have not a lot of transportation for the materials for the building. We saw that even in Greenland, in Northern America, everywhere. In Greenland, actually, as they started farming in Greenland, and there are parts where you could do that, they built the same structures with the grass sods on top of it. But while they were doing that, the grass was not able to regrow on the ground. So their strong building, their strong growth on Greenland for farming, actually, they used their farmland to put it up on the roof to protect the building, but then they had no farmland for the animals anymore. So this went down. It was 50, 60 years. It was okay, but then it was falling apart. So it's really interesting. I know projects in northern Germany where they used peat, where they cut out peat moss blocks and built the entire roof with them. And then obviously stuff is growing on top of that too. I am, let's put it this way, nowadays, I wouldn't necessarily build a shelter like that because we want to have a more comfortable living, and we want to make sure it's not leaking and all that stuff. So obviously, nowadays, the setup is a little bit different to make sure the structure can last as long as
for modern day living.
Yes, correct.